Welcome back to the Phanatics podcast. I am Nick. We have Max again with us this week. We are very lucky. Max, how you doing today?
Good, Nick. I appreciate you having me on again, man. It's been a good ride so far, and just looking forward to, like I said last time, just to continue to progress it.
Zach, how are you?
Pretty good. Getting over some sickness, but we're kicking still.
And
Yeah,
as
you sound a little down today.
This is probably my best day though. To be honest, I was down and out for the count last couple.
Yeah, he
Days.
was dying. He had like flu, COVID, vid, flu, vid,
Still drinking tea.
flu, vid.
Yeah, whatever that is.
It's all the same thing. It doesn't matter. Anyway, that's a political thing. We don't need to do that. But, yeah. So as you can see, that Max is definitely not Madison. So Madison isn't here with us today. But we have a good. I think we have a good pod setup. Do you want to start us off, Zach, with some recap here?
Yeah, I mean, first series of the season didn't go too well. A wasted Wheeler start to start the year, which hate to see that. That was probably my biggest takeaway. Is you can't you have to capitalize on his starts when he pitches that well. That was probably my biggest takeaway. But you got Marsh that did pretty well. He hit a home run off Strider. Little be known, Strider has some problems with his arm now. But Stott did well. He had a double. He was 4 for 9. Bohm was 4 for 12. But Wheeler was really strong. 6 innings pitched in his performance for opening day. Five strikeouts, and then Rangers start was pretty solid too as well. But Nola's was
Nola was garbage.
Yeah, that
garbage.
was not a good game.
He got a little unlucky though too in that start. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not defending
his
him.
curveball was not located well.
His curve was not curving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like a typical start for this, for this franchise, honestly. And when it comes to April, first week and a half of the season.
Yeah, it just really sucks because it was like this after the success we've had in the past 2 postseasons against them to open the series and the season off against them. It kind of was in my mind of like we might lead the division for the whole year. So that's kind of really depressing seeing the bats not come to life with the good pitching performance that we did.
Well, I think
all 3, but.
What you just said, Zach, it's like to what we just saw today. I mean, it's painful sometimes watching these at bats and just the inconsistency of just getting off to these slow starts year after year after year. And every time I hear an interview, it's like they're blaming the cold weather and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. I mean, but that's what Northeast baseball is in the start of the season. And I mean, honestly, luckily they are just 1 game under 500 at this point. But you start like where you started against the Braves. Obviously, after all the hoopla from the last 2 postseasons, you would have wished to have just not even necessarily win the series, but just have been a little bit. Didn't have to feel as
especially with you got 2 solid starts. You had Wheeler and Ranger that both pitched very well. Those are 2 games you should have won. But we can move on to the Reds now if you want to start that off, Nick.
I mean, basically the same thing.
Connor Brogdon.
You had
he's gone.
What was that?
Connor Brogdon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, thank goodness.
Worst body language on a mound I think I've ever seen.
If you could ever be like the definition of defeated, like when that ball landed in the stands in his eyes and they just showed him, I was like, oh man, he's done.
Yeah,
he's on a plane tonight.
What the hell happened to that guy?
I don't know. He was so good for us
too. He was so good.
He was good in 22, and then was decent at the beginning of. Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of the life of a relief pitcher.
Maybe it's the scoreboard.
Well, he was like a long inning guy, right? And he even started some games for us too in 22. I think he stepped in as like the 5th or 6th starter if we needed it, but he just fell off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to go more in about the Reds, I mean, Marsh and Schwarber stood out mostly. Mm-hmm. Marsh has stood out in every series. Well, every time he at least had the opportunity to play.
He had a 3-hit game.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
I also think with Marsh is what's impressive with him is he's pretty much hitting in the 8 hole. You have Rojas behind him who is
he's just
not a player.
That's
the point. So it's like Rojas is still learning how to hit, to put it kindly, and Marsh I mean, no, that is
No,
what
that
it
was
is.
perfect.
I mean,
That's
it
nicer than Nick
honestly
would have
is, to
put
put
it.
it kindly. I mean, it's different bringing up, minor leaguers today than it was 10 years ago, where, if you're going to be a professional player, you would have pretty much honed your skills in the minors, and now the kids are learning it, in the majors, which is different. But Marsh is in a tough spot because he needs to he could pretty much get walked every single time, and they can just pitch around him to get to Rojas, but he's got to maybe expand his strike zone a little bit. And to your point, Nick, and what we're saying, I mean, it's pretty impressive the start that he's off to.
Yeah, I mean, he's shown year after year now that this is what Brandon Marsh is. So, I mean,
That's one of the most underrated trades in my memory.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is getting him.
And it worked out for both teams.
I remember seeing the trade, and I was like, oh, Brandon Marsh. Like, I've seen him a little bit, didn't really know much about him.
And it was a separate trade. It was the same day when they got what's the pitcher, Syndergaard, and they traded whoever, because I think it was Moniak and Logan O'Hoppe. Both of them went. I forget which one was for Marsh, but I mean, honestly, Marsh is one of the best trades I can. It reminds me kind of like a Jason Worth type of get, like an under the radar guy that's just like a key piece to a potential run. And we've seen it in the other runs.
And we can't forget about Harper's 3 home runs. That was wild.
We can't.
That was
awesome.
forget.
That made me want to jump up and down for joy.
We almost did an emergency podcast.
Yeah, Nick and I were up to like 3 a.m, like just talking. We couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah. I mean, so I mean, the bullpen turned it around after the Braves game, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I have it down.
Right, let me ask you something. Let me ask you guys something about the bullpen, though. Like, a lot of things that I hear in Philly throughout the week is it an issue that they don't have defined roles? Do you think they will have defined roles at some point?
I think.
So, I mean,
right.
I guess Alvarado at this point is the closer.
High leverage guys and low leverage guys. That's
I mean,
looking at.
If we go back into, like, even a few weeks ago when I was saying this team needs a closer, I think they have one. I think they choose who that was. Alvarado. I mean, he was out there. Was it yesterday to close the game out?
It seems like he's the first choice to close.
He's the best choice, is because when he's on, he's really on. But when he's off, I mean,
who would you guys say their best reliever is?
Like, put him up against anybody for one out.
Now in an inning, I mean, more so like an inning, I would say, just because of the rules.
Strom.
Most consistent, maybe Strom.
I'm going Strom.
I'd probably go Hoffman, honestly.
I'd lean with Hoffman too. I'd put him in anywhere. He's looked really, really strong. I mean,
he's the type of guy that, if Alvarado's walking guys that
muddy in it.
He's I mean, he was really good last year, and he's already off to a good start this year. I'm knock on wood, but he's been pretty good in high leverage situations.
Yeah. What about the National Series from today?
Yeah, I mean, started off good, right? I mean,
too good to be true.
And then Sanchez had a rough go today. It was kind of, he's going to have those starts. He's really a fifth starter pitching in the fourth spot, and we're gonna have to just kind of deal with it.
Probably for a lot longer than we'd like, actually.
Yeah, and he's also kind of out there learning on the spot too. Like, like Max was saying, these guys kind of get called up earlier than they normally would. And I mean, he looked really good the first start, and it was versus a better team. So, I mean, I guess we can take that for what it is.
I mean, it wasn't even a bad start, though. I mean, he kept them in the game. They lost 3-2. You give up three runs as a pitching staff. You should be.
I fell asleep, as you know, because the game was boring.
It was just like another typical Phillies April loss. I mean, it's good that they got the series win, but I mean, they were up. I know they got the early lead. I think Sosa hit the tying home run, but it was just
I called that today.
Yes, he did. I have
Sosa was going to hit a home run, and Witt was going to have a 2-3 hit game. Sosa got me.
Yeah, Witt's got to get going. But I mean, it's like you see Trey Turner's stat line against a lefty, 3 strikeouts. It's just it's unacceptable. And Castellanos he might as well not have shown up for the season yet. And it's
Golfing.
just, again, it goes back to another typical April loss where when there's multiple, when you get to like 4 or 5 guys that are just not hitting, the lineup is sometimes painful to watch. They'll get going, no doubt about it, but right now it's definitely they're not consistent, and it's like I said, it gets a little painful.
I'm gonna
And
throw some Castellanos defense in there. He's
okay.
starting to make contact with the ball, which means it's gonna
Wow.
start
He had
falling
a
soon.
single up the middle.
He had a
Yeah.
single up the middle. Did you see the before I fell asleep? I saw a nice line drive out to right field.
Yeah,
That's a good.
When you fell asleep, you had a bad double playground out. I hate to tell you.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Did he?
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Well,
I wasn't gonna bring it up. He did, not me.
I don't even.
I will say that the guy. I mean, we mentioned Marsh. The other guy that's sticking out to me right now is JT. He's. I mean, he modified his leg kick, I guess. It's not as big, and he seems really locked in. It seems like he's the type. It seems like he's just in a good zone right now, and you kind of just hope that he's able to carry that through. Because if he's been an all-star, I think pretty much every season he's been with the Phillies, and he's one of the best catchers in baseball. But he's not always. He's just like the other guys in the lineup. He doesn't always show the consistency. So if we get that type of him from day one throughout pretty much the whole season, that could be a special year for him.
I don't think he's going to stay in the 4 hole though.
Where would you put him? Put him at the 2?
No, I think he's going to drop. I think that's.
Well, if he stays hot, then he'll be in the top 4. Maybe
Yeah,
go.
if
I mean,
he
they
stays-
may have to drop Turner at this point and move because JT has hit 2 before.
I think that's way down the line, but I mean, there's a bunch of possibilities.
I mean,
I like JT protecting Harper right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
thought
it feels
so at the
right.
beginning of the season too.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely. It sounds like we're panicking. There's no need to hit the panic button just yet.
Yeah.
No,
like
I mean
they're
4 and 5. I mean, it's one game. It's just more about the eye test. Like at this point, after
well,
how the season ended last year.
Obviously we need to do some Castellanos eye exams, and Harper wore glasses the other day, so maybe
That was weird.
maybe Casty could borrow them or something. I don't know. So this lineup, do you think it would be better off right now if we had Reese out there?
Well, that's been the talk of at least being in the city of Philadelphia really since the season start, because he got off to a hot start. He played the Mets and did the whole thing with Jeff McNeil, which was awesome. But I find it very weird that people are saying what you just asked, because he wasn't on the team last year. I mean, he literally did not play one game for them last year. So, yeah, if all the pieces fell into place, would you like him on this roster? Sure. But at the same time, it also kind of has a potential logjam. Your defense gets worse, and I think that's what they did going into the season, knowing what they were preparing for, was they wanted to have a better season regardless of what Rojas was going to give him at the plate. And, I think that it's too soon to tell, but I'm not panicking over not having him right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Harp's a better first baseman.
It's unbelievable how good of a first baseman that guy is.
And like you said, we didn't have Maul last year. I thought you were going to be on the opposite side of this argument because you brought.
I mean, listen, he's a great Philly. I mean, he's a homegrown guy, and I mean, I was like trying to think today or the other day, like how could they, if they kept him, they would have had to have moved Harper back to right field. Hoskins at first. I guess you kind of move Marsh back to center. I guess Castellanos to left if you want to keep Schwarber off of the out of left field, and you kind of mix and match on different days. So like some days Harper can go and play first. You can DH Reese. You could put Schwarber in left, but it also locks them in to like kind of their roster. And I feel that Dombrowski could make a move at the deadline for that center field spot. So if they would have kept Reese. There's not really anybody to add on offense, which isn't the worst thing. But, back to what you initially asked, I think it's just too soon to tell. And, great dude, but I understand what they were doing with the move.
Hey, Zach, who would you want that center field trade to be?
I'm fishing for Trout.
That's going to be one of my bold predictions, I think, for when we get to that. Yeah. I think I could see it the deadline or the offseason if it was ever going to happen. Like now it's getting to that point.
I think he's getting frustrated there. I mean, they're not doing anything to help.
He's playing so good too.
I think he had a home run today.
I'm not shocked.
He made a crazy play in center field last night, I believe.
He's ridiculous. Yeah.
I
And why wouldn't you want the guy that was been voted in front of Bryce Harper for top 100 MLB players year in and year out? Why wouldn't you
right.
want to pair them up? That's a super team if I'd
And
see one.
he won't even. It's not even. Does he fit in with the chemistry because he's already basically part of the city and the
Mm-hmm.
team. Like you just throw him in there. I mean, he's already goes to basically every Eagles game, so he's already perfect fit. Like he just comes right in, and he's just
Or
there's
does he have
no
a golf
concern.
course in Jersey or something?
Yeah,
Yeah, him and Tiger have
Yeah,
they're like building
yeah.
one. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's just
Yeah.
like the perfect fit.
No, I think that, and he has a no trade clause, and I think that if it ever got to that point with the Angels, I just feel like the fit, it's just a natural fit,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. But hopefully, you hope it happens by this offseason at the latest to make a
Yeah.
run with him.
I mean, he's gonna be frustrated. Come,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one, they didn't even do anything to add to the team after Shohei left. They just like, okay, well, we have Trout still. Figure it out.
Anthony Rendon.
Oh yeah, that's a baseball
I don't
player.
even, does he, I don't think, last time I looked, which I think was yesterday or the day before, he still hadn't had a hit on the
He
season.
No,
just
he
got
has
he
one
just
now.
got one.
He,
He legged out a
it's
single.
so crazy.
He legged one out.
Little hustle for the guy who doesn't care about
He's like one of
baseball.
one of the craziest stories I've ever like seen in terms of just like his mentality towards the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah,
He's getting
Do
paid
not get it.
millions of dollars to not care about baseball, and I'm
yeah,
sitting here talking.
and he was so good at one point. And he was so good at one.
Yeah,
And
Yancey
he
played at
won a
one
World
point.
Series. Yeah, where he was just naturally just so good and not injured and just
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. All right. We can transition a little bit. So Turnbull goes tomorrow. What do you guys think of his first start, and how you think he's going to do in that fifth spot?
I thought his first start was really, really good. I mean, 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 7 strikeouts. Uh, that's not bad for me. I mean, um, I forget the score of that game. We won that game, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That was the one we won.
he went 5 innings and the dude Ortiz who like
Yeah, that
came in
fourth
at
inning in the
and
Pinto.
he got
Yeah.
the
From
save and
from
that's
Rochester, New York.
Yeah,
yeah
the
yeah
Venezuela MVP and the Caribbean League MVP or whatever it was,
yeah
coming in the fourth inning in his Pinto to,
gets
get the
the
job
four
done.
inning save yeah
Yeah, that's a wild story. How about a
yeah
baseball story?
yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, I can get there by the fourth inning every game if I wanted to.
Well, and his driver got lost.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
his
really
driver got
funny.
lost too. He
I
had to
took in a wrong
sign his
turn once or
contract in
twice.
the tunnel and everything. It was funny.
Yeah, all I knew is he showed up like the third inning, had to go sign the contract because he wasn't even on the 40-man roster or
Mhm.
whatever, or the 26-man roster, whatever it was.
Mhm.
And then like we just said, he goes in and gets a 4 inning save.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah,
wild. Pretty
yeah,
wild.
yeah. But no, Turnbull's a
Yeah,
guy that. Sorry, Zach. I was just
I
saying
was going
Turnbull.
back to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just saying. I mean, that's the type of guy you like need on a good baseball team. He can spot start for you. He can throw a few innings in relief, and whether it's just eating innings or high leverage situations. I mean, that guy was a good pitcher before he got hurt.
Mhm.
So hopefully, I mean, it's only one start, but hopefully, it's it's something that they have throughout the season that they can depend on.
Yeah. I mean, I liked what I saw. I was really happy with it. I remember telling Zach I was really happy with it. I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I wasn't expecting good starts from Sanchez or Turnbull to start the season. So, I mean, I was pretty happy with how both of their first starts went. I would like to see more of that. Um, you guys know I'm already not an Aaron Nola guy, so I mean, he can just drop all the way down to the fifth starter for all I care. But,
You don't need
um,
anything then. I don't
ah,
think he's that bad.
yeah, he might be. Do you see his first start?
One start, just like Spencer Turnbull.
You're
One
tough
start,
on him.
and
I
there's
am.
a
I'm
trend.
very
Yeah.
tough. I hold.
I will say that I mean, he's like 1 year on, 1 year off. But last year he was off, but but I shouldn't say great. He was good in the postseason
Yeah, he's
last
been.
year.
That's where it
Yeah.
matters, right? I mean,
Mm.
get you there, and he's been good the past 2 years of the postseason, right?
Yeah, you got to get there though.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a lot of stuff that we originally wrote down that I just kind of want to skip because it's not really worth
What
talking
about
about.
the Walker thing? I got some news today.
Yeah, let's bring up Walker. What do you guys think? I mean, he's on IL. He's pitching all right, right?
I mean, I guess he pitched 46 pitches on Saturday in like an interleague match. That was on MLB.com, I read.
Okay.
But his fastball was still sitting at 90 miles an hour, and Topper blamed it on the cold, which
Don't
it
call
was
him out.
90 miles an hour down in
That sounds
Clearwater, too. So
terrible.
I don't
Yeah.
buy that. That's just a smoke screen. So, and then they're saying that so he's at 46 pitches. They want him to put a 60 pitch count limit when he returns to the MLB, which was probably about a month away or more, because they want him to get to 100 pitches during his rehab stint. So that could take a while, and they're only going to bump him up at 15 pitches per start. So until he's pitching 90 to 100 pitches, it's going to be into May. So,
It just sounds like if at this point, if he can give you almost just eating innings throughout the dog days of the summer,
giving up
because
what, 4, 5, 6
it's coming
runs?
down to like the Jake Arrieta signing.
Yeah.
Worse than that.
It's getting there.
I
Man.
mean, what's frustrating to me is when I personally look at it is that they essentially chose him over Zach Eflin, and I don't think that's spoke about enough. I mean, Eflin, I don't know what Eflin's doing to start this year, but I know
I think
Eflin was
concerned about his health.
All I know is that last year he was in the running for the Cy Young in the AL, and Eflin signed like a 3-year, $40-something million deal. We give Taiwan the $18 million a year, and it just looks like a disaster of
How about
contract.
that 25 to what was Montgomery's contract? That doesn't
It's
sound
1 year.
right
I think
now,
maybe
right?
it was 2. Yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, Taiwan is just is eating up a major spot on this roster because he's making he's making the 18 million. We all know that Middleton's will spend, and he's already over like the second threshold in the luxury tax. But Taiwan eats up a lot of that, eats up a major spot, and Dombrowski, that was definitely his worst move since he's been our general manager.
But I mean, at the time, you couldn't think, "Oh, that's a bad move."
Right.
I mean,
After
originally,
last
like,
season,
okay,
15
It
million.
did seem overly aggressive when it first happened, though. I get that he didn't want to miss out on not having a starter in that spot, but you essentially were signing him at the time to be your fourth starter when you think about it, and they gave him that deal. So I hear you. I mean, I think he's had some decent seasons in his past. I know he was on the Mets, and I think maybe was an All-Star. I don't know. I mean, he actually had a good first half of the season last year, but you could just always tell that he was getting run support, and I don't know. It's frustrating that like they kind of not necessarily need to rely on him, but they need him to do something for them throughout the season just to
They
kind
need
of
to
get
rely
through
on
it.
either Sanchez or Walker. And,
Mhm.
I mean, maybe Spencer Turnbull surprises us all, and he's the guy they rely on out of the blue. So it'll be tough to tell. We'll have to see what happens.
I mean, if you're saying he's only hitting 90 right now, I mean, it's just not that
That's what they
velocity
say.
means everything. It's frustrating to hear because of how last season ended, and he hasn't lived up to the contract. And again, he's supposed to be. You signed him to be your fourth starter, but you pay him that much money to potentially be better than that, and it just it's frustrating to know that that's probably not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer the question, Walker was an All-Star in 21, but
For the Mets, I guess.
for the Mets,
Because
he had a 7-11 record with an ERA in year 5.
How the hell?
I remember that he had a ridiculous awful.
Did someone
an
opt out and say, "I'm
end of
not
the
going to
season.
go"?
No, he was so bad in the second half of the season, like after the All-Star.
I don't remember that. But wow, that's
Yeah.
wild. Jeez.
I mean,
He was. I remember he was close to making the All-Star team last year, the first half of the season.
I think you're right. I
Yeah.
think you're right.
Sorry, Zach.
I mean,
or Nick, I didn't mean to cut you off.
he's close to basically being a 4 ERA guy his whole career. That's, I mean, you have to assume that almost all of his wins came because of run support.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his best season was a 3.49, and he did it twice, once for Seattle and once for the Mets in 22, which is the year he didn't make the All-Star game, but whatever.
And then we signed him the next year.
And then we signed him, and he was...
Yeah.
And then he threw as many pitches as he's ever had this season and all that good stuff.
I mean,
his arm
31 games. Most games he's ever started was last year. 172 innings. He gave up 155 hits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the whole thing.
I was looking at the stats when I was looking to write about Walker, and I was like, "Jeez, what am I looking at right now? These are ridiculous."
It's a guy that got overpaid because we were in panic mode of adding, like you said, we paid for a fourth starter basically, but I mean, there's two guys on the team right now who can probably actually deserve that spot over
Yeah.
him.
Mm-hmm.
I would
Mm-hmm.
say there's three guys, but one's not ready yet.
I don't
And
think
Abel,
Abel.
I'm an Abel guy.
Yeah, I know
I'm
you're a
gonna
big
Have
be.
you
Abel
do
guy.
follow his stuff in the minors?
I watch minor league baseball like I watch Major League
Mm-hmm.
Baseball.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah.
awesome.
Um, I mean, I live in a minor league city, so minor
That's
league
true.
baseball is my
Yeah.
life.
No, that's cool.
So I watch a lot of minor league baseball. I usually have Phillies game on the TV, Red Wings game, Rochester on the laptop, and you know. But yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of Abel. Um, I think he would be ready, but we got to wait it out. I know I'd rather have him than Walker.
Yeah, I
I'd
mean,
rather throw the young guy out there than trust somebody who can't pitch. So
yeah.
I mean,
Well, the good news is you potentially have him even maybe this year, and then hopefully Painter next year, which will be pretty cool with adding those young pieces to this team.
I don't think they're gonna rush Painter up to
you
the
got to go
majors
slow
though
with
after
No,
it.
that
like he's
injury.
not like I'm saying next season. I mean, he's not doing
No, I'm
anything
saying
this
even
year.
next year. I don't. If he's a Philadelphia Philly next season, I think it'll be in the second half towards the postseason, if anything. I
Yeah,
don't think they're gonna rush him back and expect him to, really go
and you
get
You're
don't
one
need
of
probably
the
to.
major
right.
league hitters. Yeah, he's still young enough that
Yeah,
you
you
really
don't
want to
need to rush
preserve.
him
They've
back.
already done that where they're like very protective
Mhm.
of him. They're not letting that go.
I mean, you have to assume, at least for what we know and what I've kind of seen, that Painter is the future of this team, right?
Yeah.
So you don't rush back to future when you re-sign Zach Wheeler and
Well, yeah, that's what
you
I was
have
gonna say.
Nola
That's why
locked up
you. Yeah,
forever.
exactly.
So I mean, you don't rush it. Um, and anybody but Walker, though. I mean, I'll have Brandon Marsh pitch before I have Walker go out there.
Wonder if he can.
You saw that throw from the outfield.
Yeah, 99 miles an hour.
He could pitch, throw it at like 200 miles on the mound.
Yeah, literally threw it 99 miles an hour from center field to get that out at home plate.
So I mean, I trust Marsh for my life, so I'll put him over Walker. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a tough spot, right? Because you saw guys get picked up who could have probably filled that role a lot better than Walker, and you had to assume that the team was probably trusting Walker a little bit too much going into spring and stuff instead of signing guys like Montgomery. I didn't want Snell, so signing guys like Montgomery, and it's just like a whole thing. Um, yeah, I mean it's tough. So you guys want to transition, or do you have anything else to say?
No, I'm good on that.
No, sounds good.
I'll drink
All
some
right,
tea.
I'm gonna drink some tea. All right, I'm out of this first Red Bull. I have another one, but it's in the fridge and I can't get up. Uh, um, so this one's. Why don't you start off, Zach? Because this was your idea.
Okay.
Okay.
So 3 bold predictions. Can you read the question? I don't have the question in front of me, Nick, about what
You
the
said,
reference.
what are 3 bold predictions you have going forward in the season? For example, you think anyone will be able to hit 200 hits? Last player was J Roll in 2007.
I forgot the year. That's why I asked you. I should
Yeah.
have remembered that. But yeah, I mean,
That was his
uh,
MVP year.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
why I can't believe I forgot it.
Mhm.
But my bold predictions, I'm going to go along with the 200 hits. The way Bohm and Stott are hitting, I could see one of them, but I really think it'll be Bohm. It might surprise you guys. I don't think he's as powerful yet as people want him to be, like hitting 35 home runs, which I could see that in the future. But the way he kind of uses the field and his at bats are really good. I think he gets there before even Stott would. I don't see Turner getting there, so I'm going to say Bohm hits 200 hits. I'm going to say Harper wins a World Series MVP. I think he has
Okay.
a crazy postseason again, and I think they get the job done, and he really kind of runs away with it. I think he's going to have monster performances because it's his time. And then the last one I have, even with how the season started, I still think we're going to win over 95 games.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I thought about this. I'm gonna go with. I'll start with because we already mentioned it, and Zach would like this. I'll say my first bold one is that the Phillies will trade for Mike Trout before the trade deadline occurs. Yeah. I'll say at least 5 Phillies will make the All-Star team. I think that's a pretty like a bold number to throw out there. I think five's a lot. And then I will say I'm going to say it's going to be a Phillies Baltimore World Series.
I could see that.
I like
I have
Baltimore. Yeah,
I have more than three, but
you do you.
I'll so to answer the hits question, I changed it up. I originally had Trey, but then I watched Trey start the season, so I was like, no.
I did too.
So I didn't put down. I was thinking Stott, and I didn't put him down. I didn't put down Boehm either. I put down Brandon Marsh. I didn't say he was going to hit 200 hits. I just said he was going to lead the team in hits.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if 200 hits is realistic, but he just
It hasn't been done since 2007, so obviously it's pretty hard to do.
I think he's. I think he does. I think he could do it. Maybe not this year, but sometime next year or the year after. But I just think he can. Now I went really bold with my next one because it's called bold predictions, and you guys kind of went with like things that are you expect. I have
Shots.
I have Schwarber hits around 260.
Okay, that's pretty damn bold.
That
I
is a
went
good
bold.
bold one.
I went bold with this because
You could have even said 240, and I would.
I was gonna say 240 sounds bold to me, so 260, geez.
I actually have like 250 to 260.
Okay.
All right. The reason why I've been watching his at bats. He's not chasing as much as he used to, and I feel like he's actually trying to get on base and not just hit home runs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 240 is probably more realistic, but I went bold, guys. It's a bold prediction.
Listen,
Happy.
if 260 obviously would be amazing. 240, I think the entire fan base would be jumping
And
for joy too. No.
I think I went with it because I was like, I want to think of something that's completely out there, but I can still kind of argue, and that's the fact that I see him not chasing as much, and he seems to be. I mean, his power numbers are always going to be there, but he just seems to be more locked in than normal, and it's probably more like 240. I changed it multiple times. I think I have like 240, 250, all written down over here.
I'll give you a bold prediction about Schwarber.
Okay.
I think he has more than 15 stolen bases this year.
Oh, we
How
need
many? Was
You
he
see how-
one or two? He's a couple.
He
there,
should have
right?
had two. He almost got
one.
another one today.
Yeah. Okay.
But the way he looks, man, he moves.
Yeah, no,
things
That's what I'm
he looks a lot
saying.
slimmer. I noticed that today in his.
I was
his
not
at-bat.
mad
He
at him
looks
going
good, yeah.
today. He
I
had a good
was.
jump. He
I
was
was
trying to get in
pissed,
scoring position. I know you were, but he was trying to get 90 feet. You know, he's not.
He's
scoring
such
from
he's
first,
such an anomaly of a
so
player.
he's a smart baseball player.
Yeah,
Very, very
he's
smart
a
baseball player.
leader, and he's probably the leader of the clubhouse. I mean,
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
Harper, but like, yeah.
And
I
guys
mean-
won a World Series.
Yeah.
Battled back through crazy injury to play in that World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his story is wild.
He's an IU alum. That's where I went. So
and my last one is something I've been saying basically since I've known Zach and Madison. That Ranger is going to be the runner-up for the Cy Young. It's not really.
I like that one.
Behind
I like
Zach
that one a
Wheeler?
lot. I like that even better.
Yeah, it's going to go Wheeler than Suarez.
I would not be mad at you.
It's hard not to love Rangers. Just like makeup. I mean, it's hard
just
not
cool,
to
calm,
root
and
for him.
collected,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Like in
He's
the
just
backyard,
such a swagger, and he just
first.
and the way he pitches too, because he loves to like challenge the right-handed hitters inside.
He's unfazed.
Oh, that dude's awesome.
Cold-blooded.
You're right, Nick. Like that's a bold prediction, but like it's also
realistic.
It's also
It's even more realistic as of
And he's starting to get on the
Strider.
radar with the MLB experts and stuff. People are really starting to take notice of him because of how dominant he's been against one, the Braves, and just two in general the past couple.
Versus everybody. Since he's got called up, he hasn't slowed down. He just gets better.
He's the guy where the game's like 1-0 and it's like the eighth inning and he comes back out and you're like, wait, no one hit off him yet. You know what I mean? Like you're like, whoa. Like I just totally forgot that he was pitching a no-hitter right now just because he's been so cool about it. You know?
Right. Yeah, he's
the man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's my favorite pitcher on the team. I mean, I love Wheeler, but I don't like Nola. You guys know that. But Ranger, though. Ranger's my boy, and I trust Ranger. So, yeah, I mean, those are my predictions. I have more, but we don't need to do it all day.
Yeah. We can predict all day. All night.
Yeah, I mean, I can make tons of predictions. You already seen how bold I can get with this. So, I mean, my next one is obviously Zach Wheeler never gets a win and he just has a perfect game. I'm joking. I'm joking.
That's good.
I almost just fell off my
I'm
chair.
joking.
My heart hurts.
What's crazy about Wheeler is, I know you're just kidding around about him, but like he's one of the best free agent signings in the history of the team. Honestly,
It's Roy Halladay all over again.
yeah.
So,
I mean,
it's
they
that
like
kind of thing.
they put up their numbers side by side at one point. It was close, and I mean, listen, Holiday is one of the best pitchers in from our generation, but Wheeler is seemingly his stuff and his makeup. He's going to be able to pitch into his mid to late 30s, and he's already kind of, was he 33?
I went to
yeah.
It was Roy Halladay's, was it jersey retirement or what it was in 2021? I think they played the Mets, and Zach Wheeler pitched a 9-inning 2-hit shutout, and that game was awesome. And that kind of, the comparisons in my mind were in that day. I believe it was Zach Wheeler for that game.
And it just seems like he's actually getting better and better, Wheeler.
Yeah.
Like wins or losses, regardless. It just seems like he's like when he goes out on that mound, he strikes fear in the opponent that I haven't seen since Halliday on this team. Honestly,
100%.
And that includes like Cliff Lee. Honestly, like just like in terms of the fear that he like he is known as a nasty pitcher. Yeah.
Well, I watched Doc's no hitter in the playoffs the other day, and it was very
good.
It was very enjoyable. I chose that over sleeping, so it was good stuff.
It's not a hard decision, man.
It's easy to get sucked into like an old game on YouTube and just like remember like where you were and feeling those chills of like certain moments. And man, that Halliday no hitter was that was something.
Yeah, that was really good time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we head to St. Louis tomorrow. I didn't even see who they have on the mound. Who do they have going? Nicholas. All right. And we have Turnbull.
All
right. So, I mean...
our boy.
My boy.
Turnbull, yeah. I'm looking up the matchups right now.
It's my new...
I think it's Nicholas, Turnbull, Wheeler, Gray, Nola versus Lynn. That's what they have predicted now, at least.
So Nick definitely thinks we have a loss with Nola. So
the thing is, I dislike him, but that's because I think he's inconsistent. I don't think.
Well, you're right. He is inconsistent.
So
he can be.
I don't want to bash him because Zach has a bunch of stats from a previous employer of the Fanatic.
I'm not ready for that.
So
they're in there.
So I mean, I think we win. I think we win tomorrow. We should sweep the Cardinals.
We should have swept the Nationals, though.
We should have swept the Nationals too, but we should sweep.
I'm just like not there with saying that. Like I think we're a better team than them. Like exactly what you guys are saying about the Nationals. We're not clicking on all cylinders yet. Not that we have to be clicking on every single cylinder, but it's just our lineup is not where it needs to be right now. It just isn't. It sucks because
it's frustrating watching this team in April, though.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just you're playing teams like St. Louis and Washington.
Exactly.
Should see 2 sweeps in a row.
That's the point. Is like I remember going into this season, even before the Braves series, one of the big talking points was, all right, you can get off to a good start in April this year because after the Braves, you have a lot of winnable series, and they already lost the series to the Reds. I mean, look, like we don't want to get too greedy and selfish in the sense that, the Nationals are terrible, but you're not going to sweep them every single time you play them. So
when good thing they Philly, we will.
Well, good thing they took 2 out of 3, so you win your first series. And to your point, Nick, it's just hopefully they do get the win like tomorrow. But it's just you just, in my opinion, you just can't get to the level where you're falling to the 21 and 22 and 29 where they did the last 2 seasons, and then fall 10, 15 games out of the first place and just be fighting for the wild card for the whole season again.
But the East is going to be a lot closer this year. Yeah. So, I mean, the division opened up pretty wide
with Strider.
Strider getting hurt.
Yeah.
So
and the Braves are still they're still.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I said that earlier too. I was like, they're still really good, but you guys are all drinking, and I ran out of my Red Bull, and I'm upset about it. I got this light shining on me. I feel like I'm tanning. But yeah, I mean, they're still really good, but the division opened up. At least you have to think that. And as much as everyone thinks that when I look at that Nola's pitching in a series, I think he's going to lose. I actually go, okay, well, Wheeler and Nola are going, we should win those games. And I go into that thinking that every game with Nola and Wheeler, but Nola usually upsets me.
I'm really excited for the Wheeler versus Gray
I
start.
think it's going to be really good.
Yeah, because there was some rumors like people wanted us to go after Sonny Gray.
Yeah, he was a big name early
Which
in
I thought
free
about that too.
agency.
He's a little older, isn't he? I forget how old he is.
He's definitely his his 30s, maybe 33, 34. He was the type of guy that like couldn't handle New York, but is better in more of the small market teams. So it was probably pretty much better off that he didn't come to Philly.
Yeah. That's why I was so in on Montgomery originally, because I knew he could handle
everybody want Montgomery. Yeah, like you're right. Yeah.
It's just the market. He could handle it. He would have done great.
Yep.
But I guess he chose to be in a small market like Arizona. So the series I'm most looking forward to is the Pittsburgh series, because that is a really good young team. And I think that's how you would want to build a team, right? I mean, look at their lineup from top to bottom. They're all really young, and except Kutch, but I don't even think he plays every day.
He's just more like a staple to the city and everything.
Just keep him in there.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the guy, so I get it. But I mean, I'm really
looking get an Eddie Bonilla contract.
Yeah. I'm super looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really good, and hopefully that we actually win it, because I'm pretty sure the other side of Pennsylvania will definitely feel free to rub that in the face of Philadelphia.
I have some family out there that are Pittsburgh Pirates fans, so there'll be.
I didn't even know those were things.
Well, this is like the time for like when they have good young talent. It's like that's their time for the Pirates to strike, because they're not going to re-sign those guys. So
who expected them to start out this hot?
I did. I told you
that.
Did,
but you said that. I expected them to be decent.
It was the Marlins. Have the Marlins won a game yet?
I forgot about the Fish.
They have a baseball team in Miami?
Isn't that the Pirates swept them to start the season? I think
I saw a stat that they haven't won a game since they played us in the postseason last year.
I know they started 0-9. I don't know if it's gotten to.
They're 1-9 though.
They're 1-9.
Yeah, they won. They won in extra innings. I think with Detroit, right?
Yep.
That last night.
So that was such a good what you just said. They hadn't won since they before they played us in the postseason last year. That they had no idea what they were in for for that series. They literally. I remember listening to interviews from like Jazz Chisholm and a couple of the other guys, and they had no idea what they were about to encounter. And just like the best part of that series, like the main memory is the Stott home run. I don't know if you guys ever. Yeah. I don't know if you haven't, and for everybody else listening out there, for you guys, if you haven't heard it, you got to go to YouTube and you got to put in the Bryson Stott Marlins home run and listen to it without any announcers, because it has his walk-up music and it's the first pitch grand slam, and it's like it just gives you the chills like that. It's one of the coolest videos I've seen. It's really cool. Yeah.
I like those no noise, like the no announcer calls, like with the Harper and that kind of stuff, because the crowd just goes nuts at CBP.
So good. Yeah.
Zach tortures himself most nights and watches old baseball highlights.
I do.
I get into phases of it too. I mean, I was watching. I went back to like the 08 a couple of weeks ago. I was watching the 08 highlights from when the Victorino and the Matt Stairs home run against the Dodgers, and completing that. And I mean, there's been some, and then the J roll, even though they didn't win the World Series there, but the J roll walk off at CBP against the Dodgers the next year, the triple and the gap. Well, there were some cool moments.
Yep.
I like watching stuff I haven't seen, like going to like all the way back. Like there's this one person on YouTube that has like every game from the 93 season. I watched all of those. I enjoyed it. I mean, obviously the ending's depressing, but I enjoyed it still. Like just going back.
That would be a lot of fun, because like just like what you're alluding to, Nick. I was alive then, but no memory of that season, and that was always that's known as one of the most unexpected seasons in Philly's history.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. And it was weird, like, I got to April 16th, and it's like, oh, it's my birthday. I'm being born
today.
I was born today. But yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun. I recommend anyone doing that, especially around, our age who didn't get a chance to watch that team because they're like a bunch of weirdos and it's just entertaining.
Yeah, Harry Cowell said it at the best when they got there. It was like a bunch, whatever that you can go on YouTube and hear the call, but it's like a bunch of misfits and whatever, and they just all came together and they got there that year.
John
Yeah,
Kruk, the greatest athlete of all time.
Heck
West Virginia,
yes.
baby.
he's the best. He's the best.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
gotta yeah.
yeah.
Man, let's see. So we got a little off topic, but that's fine. What are we looking forward to in the next two series? I kind of already said I'm excited for the Pirates series, but
For me, it's just trying to get some consistency from the batters. I mean, we need to see Castellanos start getting hit some, getting on a little bit of a roll, but more so for me, Trey Turner. I mean, it's we can't deal with another start first half or first part of the season like we did last year. I mean, and on top of that, he's still committing errors at shortstop.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating watching him play at times, but we know the talent's in there. So to me, it's just finding that consistency offensively, because even if one or two guys are not on, in a little bit of a slump, the rest of the offense should be able to carry them. But what we're experiencing right now is, like, I go back to the beginning of the podcast. It's another April start where it's too many of these guys just not being ready to start the season.
Well, typically, if his bat's working, his glove's working too. He's kind of those, like, it's all one vibe.
It's a mental thing,
person.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like that transitions to that, and he feeds off of that kind of thing. So
Definitely,
I think if he gets the offense going, the glove will be no problem.
why do you think that we always start the season so slow offensively? Other than just being a Philadelphia sports team.
It's funny because I attribute, I look at this era right now and I compare it back to, the 08, 07, 08, 09 through, it's like this is the first time they've been kind of where expectations are high since that era. So during that era, they always got off to a lousy start in April, and it seems like this era they're getting off to lousy starts in April. And there's no doubt that this year it's too soon to tell. Again, they're 4-5. Like, they're not 2-8. Like they're not 2-7. So it's not the end of the world where they are right now. But again, I go back to the eye test and just knowing that they're not hitting with runners in scoring position to start the season. They're doing what they did at the end of last season when they lost to the Diamondbacks, was chasing balls out of the zone in important situations, and it just, stuff that you didn't want to come true is maybe potentially coming true, like Johan Rojas. Like, we talked about Taijuan Walker. We have no idea what we're going to get from him. They already got rid of Brogdon. So it's just, you don't want the stuff that, like, you thought were going to be negatives to rear its ugly head. You want the positives, obviously, to outweigh the negatives. It's a long season. There's dog days, but it's tough to put an exact reason why. But to me, it's just not being ready to start the season. That's how I would attribute it.
I heard a Shane Victorino interview actually about, like, his thoughts of why they get off to slow starts, and he was saying about, like, their team's only won April, they got off to a good start, and I forget.
And they were like 500.
It wasn't a good year, or it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
a good start actually, but I don't really know the correlation. It just must be Philly. I don't know. I mean, do we need a dome? Is it too cold?
It would be nice if most of it. My only thing is, and I've said it, on this podcast once or twice, and I said it when I was on our, a couple weeks ago, is just don't start 22 and 29. Don't get that far behind. Like, just hover. If you're gonna have a slow start, hover around 500. This team's too good not to get into their flow.
I wanted to see 29 and 22.
Yeah, well, that puts them in a position to be the one. Even though we've been, we've come out of the wild card the last two seasons. You don't want to do that every year. I mean, it's not, that's not how it's going to work every single year. I mean, there's a reason why you play the regular season to get the 1 or 2 seed. And I would say after 10 years, more often than not, the 1 or 2 seeds, you're going to see them in the Championship Series and World Series more often than not.
I mean, I think if it shows anything, I guess it doesn't really matter how we start off. It's just how you finish. So,
and that's what I'm saying. And just don't fall too far behind. If you got to hover around 500, then that puts them in position to finish with a great record, because you don't have to be battling back from 7 games under 500.
So, I think they like it. They like battling back from under
So what do you
500.
what do you
definitely
guys
love.
think?
Yeah.
What do you think the record will be after these next two series? 4-5 now. So
I'll say they're going to win both two. I would say they'll win 2 out of 3 of both series.
But the other series is what, 4-game series?
Is it? Is there a 4 game in there?
against the Pirates, is it?
I think so.
You might be.
You're probably right. Because they play. You're probably right because the
Yep.
way that the schedule is, they like play the teams. They play every team in baseball now, and I think they play the teams out of their division in the NL 7 times. So
Yeah,
you're probably right.
it is a
Yeah.
4-game series. So you think?
So I'll be optimistic, and I'll say 3 out of 4 of that one, and 2 out of 3 because I know the Pirates is at home. So I'll say 2 out of 3 against St. Louis, 3 out of 4 against Pirates. I'll be optimistic. And hope they get on a little bit of a roll here. What do you guys think?
I think they sweep St. Louis to get back on track a little bit. Probably Pittsburgh's a whole different level. I think they split it. I think they split Pittsburgh. I mean, it's at home though, like you said. It really depends on if this team wants to hit or not.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to hit, it's a whole different prediction. But I'm just gonna go with they sweep St. Louis and they split with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think they take 2 out of 3 from St. Louis, and then I think they take 3 out of 4 from Pittsburgh. So I can see like a good little
that gets
swing
them
to
on
the
a roll.
season. Yeah,
That gets them on a roll and puts them in a decent position. You
That's
know,
probably more realistic. You're
5-2 in a series in that.
yeah. I mean, it's all about. I mean, honestly, the simple thing about baseball, if you want to be a good team, is win the series. It's as simple as that. Win 2 out of 3, then you're winning 2 out of every 3, and that puts you on track to have a really nice record. I mean, obviously, it's not going to happen every single time, but the good teams like the Dodgers, the Braves, that's what they've done the last few years.
Yeah. I mean, I think Zach's probably more spot on with his prediction. I think that's pretty accurate. I was thinking, I don't know. I just want to see them hit. I don't even care if we drop some games. I just want to see the lineup come to life where I know that we're going to be okay.
Well, you're right, because that's what the bread and butter of this team. I mean, you have a good pitching staff. You can rely on it. But like for this team to get where they want to get to, they're going to have to hit. So if they get on a roll, it's you feel good about them.
Yeah. All right, so to our last topic here. What players should we look? Who do we think's who's gonna shine during the next 2 series? Is start to pick it up a little bit.
I'm gonna say I'll give you 2. I think Marsh is going to continue to do what he's doing and continue to build a strong start to the season. And I really think Schwarber is going to be the guy to kind of like kick it off and like get the power going. I'm really excited to see him go because his swing looks really nice. So I think the power is coming. So those are mine.
Well, I mean, Schwarber's gonna hit 260 this year, so that makes sense.
Well, I know that Nick's going to take Nola probably, so I won't take him. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with the quote unquote youngsters. They're not even as much anymore. I'll go with Bomer and I'll go with Stott. I think both of them, off the not terrible starts to the season by any stretch, but I think they're gonna start spraying the ball like we know how they can spray the ball, and they're gonna get their legs and their swings under them.
Well, I'm gonna surprise everybody. I'm gonna say Johan Rojas. I'm joking.
Pache looked good today, by the way. Especially I hit a couple big. I mean, I didn't
At
see
least
him
he hit
play,
the ball
really.
to the outfield.
He actually hit the ball. So
Yeah, he lifted one to right. I believe it was. It was in the outfield.
Rojas has a week or 2 at best left to see if he. He can't get the ball at the infield. I mean, it's sad. He's such a good defender. He's such a good defender.
How about this? If Rojas hits a double against any game against the Cardinals, I will shave my beard completely off for next pod. If he hits a double,
our message group will be going nuts at that.
One extra base hit, Rojas, if it all comes off. I'm ready anyway. I want to shave it off, so just please
I want mine
double,
to come back.
please Please, baseball gods.
He's not going to hit a double. You're going to have to grow that thing out to Marsh level.
It would have to be like a lucky one that like it's like hits like the bag and like pops up and like they just like don't call it an error and just give him the double or something.
Yeah.
Which is like so sad because he's probably such like a cool dude and like good guy and it's just painful to watch him hit.
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore. I couldn't do it before the season started. She's just backing it up more and more.
So Nick, your two guys are Nola and Rojas.
Yes, Nola and Rojas, my two picks, the guys that are going to shine the most.
Yeah.
Nola probably will, but my pick is I think Trey's going to get going. I said that all last year too. Every week, it's just too talented not to get going at some point. So I think Trey's going to get going, and I think Zach's right. Marsh is just going to keep carrying the team, but I think Trey's going to get going, and Marsh is gonna marsh. So
Marsh gonna marsh,
and Dog's gonna dog. So that's what I think.
Marsh is made to be a Philadelphia Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Zach, Max, I'm sorry. Why don't you pitch the merch real quick? And then
we've gotten some orders since last time I was on. They've the swag looks awesome. The logo looks great on all the apparel. If you have ordered, your shipments are, if they didn't get out at the end of last week, they're getting out first thing this week. So Madison will post the link. Go to our site. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. Assuming we continue to get orders, we may, update the site with some more options. But we have some really good options. We have some Under Armour options. We have other performance options, just normal T-shirts, some hats, and hopefully, I think by next podcast we'll be having ours will be in, and we'll allow the our followers and our listeners, we'll be able to rock the swag. And
my hoodie's gonna be worn a lot. I can tell you that much.
I'm definitely wearing it all over the place.
I mean, it'll probably start snowing again soon. So,
and I'm sure we'll talk off air, but we'll figure out some sort of way to do like a free giveaway for a certain something like that. So, but we're off to a good start with the merch. And we just, our goal is to continue to get the Phanatics logo out there and hopefully take up a section at CBP one day.
He sent us a picture of the merch the other day, and it looked really good.
Looks really good.
I didn't think it was going to look good on the black.
It looks great.
Loved it on the black.
It
looks so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be biased because I paid to get the logo made, but it looks so good on the black. Like I was like, man, that looks awesome.
But, it sticks out. Yeah,
I was super happy when I saw that. I wasn't sure. I didn't think it was going to. I was like, it's not Philly's colors. I tried to stay around Philly's colors when I was doing it. I was like, oh, that black looks so nice. But maybe we'll get a blue and yellow one in there at some point.
The City
Phanatics City Connectors. We'll get our own jerseys made. Phanatics City Connect jerseys.
Love it. Love it.
All right. Oh. As for you guys know that we post the links for all our podcasts where they're streaming. The YouTube link seems to be doing really well. I don't know how this one's going to do with our three ugly mugs here, but it's been doing really well. The streams, guys, come on. Listen to some more of the streams. If you're going to watch on YouTube, you can listen to us too in your car. On your way to
running
work.
On the treadmill.
Running on the treadmill. Something. Just listen to us more because we got to get those stream numbers up. But I'm super happy with the YouTube because, I mean, we're doing really well on there. I think everything's going well. We'll be back next week we're recording on the 14th, so we'll be back on the 15th, which is 2 days before my birthday. The day before my birthday, the day the podcast comes out. But
nice.
Yeah, so I expect birthday presents.
Phillies wins
and birthday presents. Zach, get on it. But I definitely want birthday presents. I want everyone to send me birthday cards. All right, I'm going a little too far off track here. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this pod. I thought it was a really good one.
Good stuff.
All right, you guys have anything you want to say?
Let's just hope that they go into this week against the Cardinals and Pirates and get, I think we each kind of got to the point where we want 5 wins this week. So let's hope for a week like that.
Let's win.
Let's right the ship.
Yeah.
And, thank you everybody for listening. Keep listening. Check out the merch, like Max said, and follow for updates.
All right, go Phils.
Thanks,
Go
boys.
Phils. Yep. See you guys.
See ya.